Carter? Here. Cindy Brazil? Mike Stinnett?
Here.
Cynthia's here, and Trent?
Here. Iowa, yep. Don't look at it, say it.
I always want to put a U in there now, so that's where it helps me,
Yeah.
so I.
And everybody didn't get the minutes, so we're gonna go ahead and start without reviewing the minutes. 'Cause we'll go ahead and review those at the next scheduled meeting, which I think is
Randy has.
13th of November, I believe. Okay. All right.
Mike, do you normally get the meeting notes? Do you get the notes for the meetings too?
I do not.
Do you want them, you want to be added to that? Yes?
You can.
Okay.
You can.
Okay. I'll make sure you get it too. I'll talk to Randy.
Yeah.
Kind of helped you along too, so. Thank you.
Yeah, November the 13th.
And
I
we-
do get the minutes, just, I do get the minutes.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We left off at 552 sidewalks. That's where we'll start this evening. Everybody's got something to follow along? Good, cool. Certificates of occupancy, it's one of the first things that I noticed, and I just made a note, made a question, who maintains certificates of occupancy? I would imagine that's
Yeah.
us. Okay,
City, yeah.
all right. All right. That's the only question that I had on that. So the certificates of occupancy are maintained by the city. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
What section you say? What section?
Oh,
552, it's section H, is what he's talking about, 5.5.2, letter H.
Right.
That's what? It's,
I was just asking who maintains it, and they said
maintained by the city staff?
Mm-hmm.
maintained by the city staff.
Go ahead.
And the 2% cross slope on 5521 Big B, does that sound right? 2%?
Well, I know, is it Matt that usually sits here? He was
Yep.
saying that the new is 1%.
Yeah.
So
And
that-
I mean, I know, I mean, I look, I mean, we don't, I mean, that's ADA, but I mean, it's, and that'd be tough. I mean, I know it's in here. And I know it's, I know when I'm walking in our neighborhood, when it's not 2%, I'm walking
You
the
can tell.
street. Yeah.
So do we need to go ahead and change that to 1%?
No,
So
I
does
think
the
you leave
ADA
it.
qualify or standard?
I think,
I would change it to what the book says, the 2%.
yeah, leave it at the 2%.
Leave it at the 2%?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, because right now, I looked around, I'm like, we're not even close
No.
on what we got.
Yeah.
But it's like to Randy's point, we want to do better. I mean, and that's one thing to, until you write something down, what you get is what you got.
Yep. Doesn't get done until it's in the new.
Yeah.
Right.
It's probably something we need to follow up with Steve on his, just to make sure, because he should fall under that.
Steve on the new development? Yeah. Let me write that down, follow up with Steve.
It's gonna be hard to hold his feet to fire on that if
Yeah,
it's
Steve
think, so, yeah. We will.
It's gonna be hard to hold his feet to the fire if this is not passed by then.
Right, and thus the reason we're trying to get it
We're
done
gonna try to
faster.
talk, so we're really wanting him to try to
That's
stick
a
to
good
the
point.
2% is what
Yeah,
we're trying
I
to.
mean, if they're not, they are, I mean, I hate to say it, they're not really good, they're a useless sidewalk, you know, they're just, you don't want to walk on them.
Yeah, since anybody else have anything after sidewalk construction standards and then on to E through I before we get to lighting? Was there anything that stood out to anybody?
You don't need me for anything. You don't need me for anything, do you? No. Okay, I'll be in that office if you do.
I had one question, Ms. Mayor. At the city council meeting, you had asked about us starting at 5:45 at our next meeting to have, I think it was a public thing about the $100 rental.
Yeah, about the rentals, short-term rentals agreement.
Okay,
And according to the municipal league, they told us we do not, it can be 2 hours posted prior to.
okay,
We don't have to advertise it 2 weeks like we thought.
Yeah.
They responded today, and it's just like a normal special meeting, you just post it on the door. So Randy's put it on our website, I believe, and everything else, so just so that people do know, see if anybody shows up.
and we'll be in place at 5:45 in case they do. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can hear me, and then start your meeting right at 6.
Okay, good deal. That's all I
And
need.
that way it will be done, because that'll be 5:45 and 6. They said, some people keep it open for 2 hours, but if we can leave it open, somebody shows up, fine, if they don't, we'll start our normal meeting at 6 anyway.
And that has to do with a $100.
I will get you a copy of it, of the ordinance that we have to change the thing on it,
Okay,
and you can read it. It's on short-term rentals for people that have, well, got some of them in the city anyhow, that was a bit. But
Like
this way
Airbnb.
we know where they're at, we know how many people will be in it, and we have to inspect them for fires. Make sure they have the smoke alarm and everything else, for safety factors and everything else.
okay.
But I'll look at that for you, I'll find my copy of it.
Appreciate it.
I just hand wrote the 100 on it. And I'll make y'all a copy of that.
Cool. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Short-term rental, all right.
And if anybody does need some waters, there are some waters up in here.
Cool. Okay. And that, 5.6 dot is lighting. And in my particular area, that's what, this brought a question up for me, was out at Weathering, if a light goes out, it's a city light, I call down here and they get a hold of, I think, Entergy or one of those companies to come and fix it. But I didn't see anything in here regarding, let's say, Steve Miller puts in 20 lights. Who's gonna maintain those?
I didn't read it. It said, well, it basically gives, in there, it said like, we want to, maybe it was in the old one.
If a developer wishes, that one?
Yeah, to use something that's not standard. But yeah, the city takes over. Yeah, it said lighting plans in coordination with the city and applicable utilities.
Okay, so that would cover also maintenance, so it's up
Yeah.
to, it's up to the city.
Yeah, once
what
it's
you're
in
saying.
place, then it's
And where are you seeing that trend?
A,
Big A?
yeah, the first one.
Okay. Lighting plans includes maintenance, that's all I want to know. Okay, I'm cool. It just occurred to me, like, who's gonna fix the lights on these new 30 new units is all I was wondering. The city. And I think there's some figures that show what the hooding and everything needs to look like.
Yeah, it's, in I, it says the allowable types.
There it is.
I don't know.
Now, I'm gonna be honest, I'm jumping ahead, but I don't know why we care what frequency they are. I mean, because it's pushing the daylight ones away. I don't know if you guys see what I'm talking about in LB.
Yeah, I saw something about,
I mean, I know they wanna go to the more night, there's like a dark skies type of people that want less light pollution. But I mean, I mean, it's in there, I just don't know if that's something we wanted to join in on, or.
you on J,
Talking about moving, it can be down to one light.
No, it's the frequency, so like with the LED lights, the more white they are, is like this 6000K becomes more daylight, and the 2700K gets more of the orange, the old, the ones that are, huh?
The only thing I'd see the difference in is, crime rates and stuff like that. and
Well, but that's what I'm saying.
visibility.
Right, but what I'm saying is this is backwards to that.
Oh, okay.
So it's saying we don't want the daylights, we do want the darker. Right, that's why I bring it
Might be
up.
something we need to change.
Well, or just don't even, I mean, it's,
Don't,
just cross it off, like
Okay,
the color, there's no reason to have that figure there.
the old ones.
so take out figure 5, 6B.
Right,
Okay.
I do know that they're coming out with an LED light, which is brighter.
right, right, and that's what that's saying, this is saying we don't want them, and I would say we do want them.
So if we strike that,
Then it
We'll be all
allows
set.
any light,
Yes.
Color, it doesn't-
Side,
yeah, it just, we're not,
That's a good,
okay? That kind of reminds me, when, and I think I've asked this before, when Bernadette Rhodes comes here, are we showing her everything we took out of this book, or everything we improved in it? Randy should have a, right,
Changes that we're making again.
okay. Because I hope it's not supposed to be from our notes, because I didn't write down every little tiny thing. Okay, Randy's got it, all right. He should, in other words, his should be highlighted as to what we
Yeah,
changed.
and then, he'll give it to her, and then she'll do the final, or another draft or whatever,
Okay,
before they,
or comes to the city council.
Basically, just put remove figure 5, 6B, color temperatures, so we can, or so the city can determine the lights used. Basically, that's what we're looking at.
To remove it, right. Maintenance. If a developer wishes additional lighting,
yeah, that's what, and that's where I read it, I guess I told you, MB is where it says if they want to use something different, then the HOA has to maintain them.
so that's on them.
Right. If it's something other than what we approve. If we approve it or the utility approves it, then it's on us.
Okay.
If it's something completely different than an HOA or the developer, is what this says.
And that's good.
I think that's
right.
fair, yeah.
Okay.
So do we need to J as well?
Yeah, that's a good point. Brian said that we need to probably remove J as well because it refers you to figure 5.6B
Yes.
and tells you what the degree should be and everything. So we take out J, move everything up, I guess. Make that K, and so on. Or, yeah. Just go slide something there. I'm gonna go to section 5.7, talk about utility and drainage standards, fire hydrants. Yeah, I just want
That's referenced in the Arkansas Fire Prevention Code.
So it's all from code already? Good, good, good.
Yeah, the 300 feet.
Cool. So shouldn't be any changes in that? Utility and drainage easements. Shall be provided where required by utilities or the city engineer. Sufficient width. Excessive easement width is discouraged. I don't know how you, what's the word how do you enforce something like that when it says discouraged?
Well, I mean, it's an easement to begin with, so it's how much rights are you giving away, or how much.
That somebody can come on and,
Because it's a standard to start with, right? It's a something.
Well, it's whatever, I mean, an easement is an easement. If it says 20 feet, it's 20 feet. If it says 25, it's 25. I mean, it's whatever is in the plat that they write, so,
Your feet's got held to the fire.
yeah.
right, okay. So does it need to say that it's excessive easement is discouraged,
It-
or does it matter?
I don't know that it matters, because an easement's gonna be in the plat.
Okay. I say keep it then.
Am I wrong? No, you're right.
Okay, the plat, property dimension. So. Yeah, oops. I keep thinking, yeah, that's what I wanted to do, yeah. Yeah. That's cool. What I was thinking of on this was more than 20 lots, which of course is what he's putting in down there, half a mile, within half a mile of the existing service. Is that on sanitary sewage disposal? Do those,
B, small c.
yeah, do those make sense, those numbers, or those, something that you've seen before, Trent, or?
Less than 5 loads.
It's out of my wheelhouse, but, I mean, everything that is here is new and more restrictive than what we currently have. You know,
And the key there is you have to look at A.
with the DH and Department of Health.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Approved by, yeah, which, that pretty much covers it, right? Okay. G, this was one that yeah. Developers install non-public communal sanitary sewer systems, i.e. package plants or similar, shall establish dedicated funding mechanism for ongoing maintenance. Improvement districts are strongly preferred on Big G for sewage disposal. I don't know what an improvement district is. Is that,
So, I'm thinking, the place I'm thinking of is where it's outside, where they did the sewer, I guess when they did Bob Soul and all that, and they put up a sewer, because everything was gonna be a septic tank out there, but they made their own sewage treatment facility to cover that, and they made it its own entity, or just an area that said this is gonna be, that's the name of that
that's an
district.
improvement district?
It says, we're gonna provide sewage for this lot, or this area.
So we as a city would strongly prefer that they use,
And
so
yeah.
this is right,
Yeah.
the book's right, okay. I just hadn't heard that term
Yeah.
before, so, yeah.
Anybody have any more questions on sanitary sewage disposal or any changes they want to make?
No, I think the biggest, like I said, it's got the city engineer in there, and that's,
Okay. Cool. Same with storm drainage, got
The only thing-
necessary, I said,
in storm drainage that I caught my attention was a G. Was every lot shall drain to the street or a drainage easement. Which, I mean, it just caught my attention, because I know, like I know if you're building on a cross, I think that everybody, you just kind of look at your own neighborhood, and you've got water that comes, everybody's got water that comes across their property and onto their neighbors. And that's where I'm like,
so is G necessary or a given, or?
I'm just saying it's super restrictive, and I don't know that it's enforceable. Because it would say that you can't let any of your water cross your property and go onto your neighbors.
Straight to the street, or?
But that goes back to that one subdivision, remember that she was talking about, that all the water from the top of the hill was draining down into that one person's garage? So they had to correct that because of this, right?
Well, so even that said, everybody's just going into the street, and then the street's coming into her. I mean, it would be on the person that owns the house that's getting flooded to make all her water go out into the street, is how I would read this.
Okay, so do
We had a situation right next to me
Yeah.
where all the water flows down to our, it's all downhill right there.
yeah,
And then when it hits my corner, it runs down kind of towards the woods. Well, the guy that lived there a long while back, about 10 years ago, decided to dam it up. And when he did that,
no way.
all the water started flowing across his neighbor's yard. And you ought to see it now. It's completely, I mean, it's still doing it.
Yeah, water is a big deal.
And it has destroyed their driveway, across their lawn. I mean, it's.
I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm just saying
So,
this
I
jumped
think
out
it's
at me.
mainly saying you don't wanna be damming anything up, you don't wanna be, don't touch it. You let the city know, and let them work on it.
Well,
Because once he did that,
Yeah.
the city said, this is out of our hands, he
Well,
needs
so-
to get it fixed,
So that was
and he never did.
to the grading. I mean, I think that's where we do require the grading permits, you know, because we would be involved in a situation prior to it becoming.
But if you have houses that are close together,
Mm-hmm.
okay, close together, one house is built up higher than the other, the water's gonna flow off that roof
Yeah,
into that neighbor's property. If that neighbor that water is going onto wants to, they could do it like a French drain out to the street,
right.
and that would be their decision.
But, and that's where I think that's this easement, you know, it's
I
like,
did the same thing, so, I mean,
Yeah.
I created a French drain, I put it in myself, it goes all the way out to the, it comes out of all of our flowering and all that.
Yeah.
And it's pop-up deals, and I ran them all out, but I did it at my own expense, and it runs right into the, pops up as a pop-up thing right in the
Correct, yeah.
ditch. So,
again, my only thing is, it just becomes super restrictive from us to put that
we
in
could be
there.
held, accountable for something like that, because, there's no way we can keep water off everybody's.
Or because I know mine goes on the,
You can't stop it.
no, water.
How about these guys that are living up here on yours, the big tall hill? How are you gonna stop water coming off each side of that?
Well, and then if you got a person without a gutter, oh, man.
Right, so I'm not saying we should tell them they have to, because we're telling them they have to.
I don't think we should. I don't know how we can control that. What do you think, Mike?
Drainage easements should be on the plat.
Yes.
Right, and it says in here that they gotta be on the plat. I mean, I know I've read that. So,
Will that protect us?
And I'm not going to say that houses close together have a drainage easement.
You're saying they should, or they,
I'm not sure that they do have a drainage easement in between the houses.
well, I would say, I know I don't have, I know what my plat says, and there's no easement on it.
You'd have to have a French drain between each
No
house.
drainage.
No, but there's no easement, so my neighbor puts water on me. But
Well, I
doesn't have
have
an easement
we
on
have
my
an easement
property.
between our homes because the houses are further apart. But, yeah, and that's where that drain goes all the way down into the woods. But, yeah, some people don't have that, right? That's for sure. So what do you want to do?
I don't think that hurts to be in there. I don't think it hurts to be in there.
Would it be coming across to the city,
Because I
down the
know
road
my front
anyways?
yard does drain towards the street.
Right.
Most everybody's does,
Well,
but you're not gonna control.
right, but it goes,
It does, I know what you're saying.
yeah,
You have no control over where water goes.
but to his point,
Unless
then it makes us require easements on
Yeah.
the plat,
Yeah.
which is okay. It's a good,
But then that's going to be too restrictive on the builder or on the developer as far as the lot widths. To put a
Yeah.
drainage easement in between each lot,
yeah.
that would be too restrictive.
Probably gonna get a lot of builders coming in to build anything. It's gonna cost them a bunch more money.
Well, what does an easement cost? If they draw a plant with an easement, is it there?
But how wide does that easement have to be? I'm just,
I wouldn't,
Standard easement is what, 10 or 15 feet?
oh, no, I wouldn't think I'm like Mike, maybe a foot.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I do not know. I just don't know if they have drainage easements on the plats to where the water has to drain to.
Because is an issue with neighbors, you know?
We don't usually have that issue unless somebody,
Well,
unless
If-
somebody
if-
screws
yeah,
something up.
If it does become an issue, like,
When somebody does something to, like, dam it up or something like that, yes, that's a huge, for us it is. But, I mean, that's the only time we ever had that problem. But it's usually on that person who did it, it's on their dime, because we came to the city saying, hey, this guy dammed all this up. It wasn't affecting my land, it was affecting it some, because more water was backing up.
but the city basically probably came back and said, we have nothing to do with that.
That's exactly what Randy said. He needs to
But
fix
here
it.
we say we have something to do with it.
Yeah,
We're changing our stance with that.
yeah.
And I'm saying, let's have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I agree. Make the person fix it that screwed it up.
Yeah. Because as soon as we say that, we have something.
So they can say, in according to the UDO, you guys.
You do have something to
yeah.
do with it, and you didn't take care of it, and now it's,
So do we scratch it? Or do, like Mike said, is it on the plat anyway to have the
they're
easement?
not on the plat.
it's not on the plat.
Or can we add to it? Saying,
So-
any,
So I mean, when we see a plat, so let's rewind, and the last plat we looked at, we would say, how come there's no drain? I mean, and we did talk drainage on it,
sure,
but there was not one drainage easement on that plat.
No, because the drainage that we was concerned about was a drainage coming down the street.
Into the sewer,
Yes.
the storm drainage, yeah. Which, I mean, this is all.
because
in
they already
there.
have problems, water problems back there to
Mhm.
start with, so that's been a huge thing for us, so. We're basically building off already,
I mean, I don't want to hang up, I just think that that's something
No, it's
that
something we need to
changes
address.
our way of currently doing business.
I don't know if we just add something in there, if anybody alters any of the drainage, they'll have to fix it on their dime, I mean, somehow like that. The city doesn't need to be held accountable for that. That's what I think, I mean, the guy moved before he fixed it, so it's still messed up.
So let me backtrack and say, when we were talking about wanting to have different permits and having a grading permit, I think would solve that, because if we do say, yes, we should have permits before you grade your property, then the city engineer becomes involved, and does that make sense?
And then easement is a part of that?
Yeah.
The grading
Then it would be
part.
part of the grading permit. And I think that then nips it in the bud.
All right. So we gotta go somewhere else. We can get rid of that line.
Will you see him to give him one?
I will see that.
I knew one of these were.
He lives right
I thought he was.
Yeah, if we don't get rid of that line, then it makes it even more behooving to have a grading permit before you start changing your grade.
She'll change it when we're out. You're just adding. Right, she'll wait, when all the papers are done, she'll add it to the next.
Does that make sense?
Gotcha, all right.
I think so. I was listening to another
No, I got you.
conversation.
But I'm saying if we keep that, then we need to create a permit to grade, which then the other side of me is like, I like to be able to do whatever I want to do on my property.
Right.
You know, so. But good fences make good neighbors, and, you know, and
I'm thinking to make mine 8 foot instead of 6 because they're getting ready to tear out my whole, yeah.
yeah.
It's not the perfect
Yeah.
answer, but it's a little,
So what's the fix?
Well, like I say, if we leave that, I think we make sure that we do require the grading permit.
I would put I would put in our notes that we need to add a requirement for a grading permit. For a grading permit, and then that should cover easement issues. I don't know if it's actually necessarily gonna be on G, it's just a part,
Oh,
I'm
to
making it
add
a part
in
of the
there?
notes so that we know that
Randy should know
Randy,
where to put it.
right, Randy's gonna have to
I'm gonna
add
put
a-
stars out beside this so I can really talk to him about it.
add a grading plan.
Yeah, add it
Okay.
there, so need to add a requirement for grading permits.
Yeah. We good with that, everybody?
Hold on, do
Okay.
what section was that? I'm sorry.
575
Yeah.
G, big
Because
G.
he's gonna ask.
Yeah,
Big G, right?
yeah.
Thank you, Trent, for that.
Okay. So runoff computation, I think that had to do, I thought there was a state thing in that too. No, it was master street plan. Talks about the city engineer. I don't know a thing about cubic feet, I don't know about you.
I know a little bit about PDC,
Do you? I'm not.
mainly just all, calculators and stuff,
Oh, okay.
dealing with concrete, things like that, but that's why I work with y'all now, because I do things, I do things about cubic feet, but I'll step my bounds on cubic feet.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that's why I had to have a variance to come here. Can't go work
That's
for you.
right, that's right. You came with the variance,
I
that's
came with a
right.
variance issue, so.
Okay.
You put me to work.
Well,
Lesson learned, I don't mind.
there's a lot about runoff computations and drainage.
Again, but it's like if you get in here with the J, this is the city engineer. You're,
Everything's covered in the city engineer right here on K,
mhm.
yeah,
Cool.
and right here in I&L as well.
And then the master street plan, which,
Yes, which we've talked about.
Mhm.
That's what we're waiting on, from somebody, I can't remember. Are we waiting on a master street plan to be approved through, yeah.
That's
Can't remember
pretty
exactly who, but I think we've been waiting on it for a while, because Matt asked about it
Yes.
recently. So,
all right? Drainage overflow path.
So we're on, page
130.
134. Did you have something before that?
Yeah, on B. O and then B.
Okay, O, small b?
Small
Right.
Okay, and it says down there, discharge, and it says see item O below. So that's not, O is above. Or do we just need to take that, just say, see item O, take out that word below? Does that make sense to y'all?
Yeah, there's no O, there is no O below. right?
Yeah,
Basically,
there's
just,
no O below,
mess
it's
up in the
above it.
book, yeah. Small b.
It should be P below, is what it is.
What is it?
Oh, see item P below?
Yeah, because they're talking about stormwater detention or retention, and then P is detention and retention.
O is a typo then.
O needs to be a p.
Yeah.
Small b, sorry.
All right,
Go ahead and do what you got, I'll keep going.
yeah.
Yeah, that's just, they've added it. That's a word formatting thing where they added something. And it didn't,
Needs to be saved.
That's a big P, right?
yeah.
It is a big P.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There it is, yeah. I'm just gonna. And I was looking at this, orangey looking block here, MS4s, and it says that they are, many small cities in central Arkansas are part of either the Little Rock, North Little Rock, or Conway urbanized areas. Storm drainage systems in these areas shall comply with EPA MS4. Contact the city and visit. So do we fall under Cabot for that, I wonder, or
I wouldn't think so.
what's that?
Yeah, I wouldn't think we do. The only thing I would think is, like a Wooster or something to Conway, or like, I mean,
But it says contact the city and visit. I wonder if this actually mentions us in it. I doubt it. Because it gives examples of, if those are examples of ones we don't use, and why,
Yeah.
that they don't pertain to us. We need to know which one pertains to us.
well, so we're at least gonna be under the EPA. So, I mean, if they're like our regulations,
Right.
you have the EPA, and then you can make a restriction, ordinance more restrictive, but you can never make it less.
Less, right. It's like, sounds like the Air Force. Huh?
Yeah.
I'm mostly just curious if it even lists us. Slash permits. Slash NPDES.
But everything from us,
NPDES.
everything from here, and I don't know the water plan here, but I'm assuming that it all goes by Amita. Eventually, it doesn't go to North Little Rock. Everything that would drain out Austin would probably end up in the by Amita.
Everything comes off the base the same way.
Yeah.
Into the Biomeda. So, because we have to go through all the training, so we don't pour,
Yeah,
the fish kill that happened out there when they
yeah.
dumped all the
I'm
de-icers.
not familiar with that term, biometa.
Biomeda
It's
is
a-
the drainage,
It's a reserve.
it's a reserve that everything drains into off of the Rock Air Force Base.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it does the cities all around us too.
Yeah.
As well, so
Okay.
I deal with it all the time with.
Yeah, because
Fuel.
outside by Amita,
Makes sense.
then it would go into like the Arkansas River. So if it did that, then there'd basically be the ridge like in Jacksonville goes to the Arkansas River where ours. That's why I'm saying I would think we're not part of North Little Rock, because I think all of our drainage would go.
Okay. Just, my only thing was,
Why?
well, and where do we fall into that? That's all I'm thinking, what is City
Are
of
we
Austin?
standalone? Is most of your cities, Trent, probably standalone? You don't
I
have
would-
this unless it's,
I don't know the answer.
that might be something we can ask Matt. Matt's pretty,
Yeah,
hip on this stormwater stuff.
okay. Do you want to make a note, we can ask Matt then? 'Cause I just wondered why.
why it was still there, why
Well,
it's there.
yeah, and why
Why do we
list
need-
if we're not even part of it?
Why list it with that? Why put something in there that just?
Doesn't pertain to us, right? Yeah, we just,
That is page 134.
yeah. And that's fours, I guess you could just put it if you wanted to. Yeah. What? Go ahead to the next page over. Drainage easement. Now see, that's got, on page 135, it hasn't. This plat is a residential subdivision. There actually is a drainage easement on there.
Yeah, it's areas in there that they say we're gonna let water run into those areas.
Okay. That's just an example, right?
That's basically what we want.
Yeah.
See, we want to know what the flow of the water.
Yep.
So, let me ask this, so somebody has that, if we don't like the way the flow of the water is, what would you do on something like that? I mean, do they have to come up with a better, different plan? I guess they would.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just
I mean,
asking, because
If it's something that we say this is not gonna work.
or
you're-
do we
you're-
just, we shut it down, but does it go to the city council first? How's
No,
that?
we
Or
would have
second?
we would have jurisdiction over it.
Over it, okay, all right.
Yeah, if we
If we
don't
shut it
have-
down before it comes to y'all, if we approve it, then it has to go through you to be approved.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's the only, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
We talked a little bit, Mike, about that. It's like an orange square on 134. I call it orange. I don't know what that
Yeah.
color is.
Yellowed out.
We're just wondering what the use of that is because it really doesn't pertain to us. But didn't want you to miss anything. And what we decide to do on that, you maybe talk to
I'll talk to
Matt about
and
that.
just ask him. We're wondering if we fall into, we talked a little bit about the biometa where like on the Little Rock Air Force Base, everything flows into one area, you know, we'd had a fish kill a while back ago because somebody drained a bunch of stuff. And I think everybody, looks like Trent talked, I think most of your cities around here flow into that area. So we were wondering, because it talked about North Little Rock and Little
Conway.
Rock and Conway, we didn't know which way everything flows into. They all flow into this, I don't know. Maybe that's what that talks about. I don't have a clue, so. Well, I can ask Matt, he's pretty sharp on that kind of stuff. He might know the answer to it, or if he can educate himself a little. Once he gets out of his bad boy class. So, we'll give him some homework.
Blank page, nice. Actually cruise right past it.
All right. We're up, does anybody have anything else for Article 6, page 137? Procedures and enforcements. Moving on.
Talks about, in B, it talks about fee schedule adopted by the city council. Do we have a fee schedule?
You'd be the guy to ask.
Do we have a fee schedule, Mike?
We'll have to set one.
And we'll set it and then put it in the UDO? Or is that gonna change often enough so we probably shouldn't be in there?
I wouldn't put it in the UDO.
Okay.
So just need to leave it like it is.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, I didn't read much on this, but it's like saying that we have $100, that this would be part of fees are.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, the fees will be set by the city council.
Okay. And it already says
So
fee
it already
schedule
says it's
adopted by the,
adopted by the
that's,
city council.
that's all I want to know. Cool. They haven't begun in 180 days. It says it's,
I guess they'd have to apply again.
I guess.
Yeah.
Or no, they do ask for an extension. That one may be extended once for another 180 days. After 200,
After a year.
yeah, after 1 year.
And well, just remind me, the 30 units that they've already started cutting down the trees. I don't know if y'all knew that, but
Oh, they did?
they're definitely clearing it.
Okay,
What
because I
about
went
it?
out last week and it didn't look like nothing was happening.
Yeah, they've gone in there maybe 100 yards. I mean, they've already started, probably stopped for the rain. My only question is grade plan. We talked about that. Did they have a grade plan?
So, right now, they don't, they're not required
Last thing that
to.
we talked to them about, he was still trying to get the land. He obviously got the land,
Yeah,
but he
he's-
wouldn't be able to,
Yeah, they're definitely
Yeah, so-
clearing it.
but I don't know, did we have any stipulations, Mike, on that? Just, we wanted to make sure that he purchased the land.
He purchased
and
land,
then he can
but
start
once he
clearing
purchases
the
land, he
trees.
can do whatever he wants to
Yeah,
with it.
Start clearing the trees. So that's what he said he was wanted to start first anyway, is clearing the trees. So,
All right, just curious. I remember something a while back about grade plan.
he'll build you an acre.
He was gonna do that after he got the trees cut and let the dirt set.
Yeah, that's right. I remember
Saturate
now.
well, it's pretty saturated right now, so.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd
it's
say.
gonna happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just-
I didn't think there was anything else that he had to do once he got the own the land, so. He must have got it, so.
all right.
Okay.
Am I correct in assuming that this is normal, 180 days? And then we can ask for an extension, is that?
I would think
I know Cabot is 1 year.
1 year before he asks for an extension.
Yes. They have, instead of 180 days, they have 365.
Do you think we need to kind of mirror them, or do you think we need to stay where we are?
I'd stay the way that it is.
Yeah, because then you get a little bit more,
Restrict-
if it's not just sitting there stable,
Right, a little
stagnant.
more.
Yeah, if you don't care enough in 180 days to come in and renew it, then
Yeah, I was gonna care much about it.
Basic.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. So we want to keep big D, B, small b, 14 days prior to the original permit expiration. And then fees may apply, which the city or city council will determine that, correct?
Say the question again?
So, big D, small b,
Small b?
Small b,
B is in board commission. Permits may be extended once after the 180 days of the receipt of the written request, at least 14 days prior to the original permit's expiration. And then fees may apply, which the city
Yes,
council
yeah,
will determine if fees apply.
Yes.
so they actually have 166 days.
Yes.
Okay.
They have to do it 14 days prior to that.
Yep.
Yeah, so. Engineer?
Planning administrator, I kind of thought we had agreed once that was this board. Are we the planning administrator? I forget.
Right now, it's city.
City staffing, right? City staff is the,
Okay.
But yeah, I'd probably make that change.
city staff.
We call, we're gonna call that city staff
city
instead of,
staff instead of.
yeah,
planning
instead of planning
administrator.
administrator.
Big B,
611.
little b, yeah. Top of page 138.
But then also it's on, page 137.
Yeah, at the bottom.
A,
611A, rename.
Oh, multiple, I see, yeah, on 139 as well. So I would say just,
B little a.
yeah, just make a note.
Oh, there it is again, yeah, I see what he's saying, okay.
All right.
It's probably like, oh, it's right there too.
So basically anywhere it says planning and administrator
Yeah, I'll
equals
turn it,
city
I-
staff.
I think that was given to
Yeah.
Randy once, that anywhere it said planning administrator, we were gonna change that to,
I'm gonna go ahead and add it in there again, just in
okay,
case.
just in case, yeah.
And I'll just put page, 137. Just to tell you anywhere it's located, change it to that.
Yeah,
All right.
makes sense. I don't think so.
City staff, coordination with the city
I think we got the word approval twice, or is that not the applicant of the approval? Approval, oh, approval with modifications or denial, so it's, yeah, that's.
That's if you want to make any changes. Like this one. Probably right over here. I need to-
Almost, we just
We was
were,
just doing the B, C, and D a moment, that's where we're at. Top. But if there's something on the other. Failure of the city staff to act.
right,
I'm gonna go through it, try to find.
okay. 612 says final determination. That also says, but we're final?
Now, the final determination would be city council.
I think that's,
Well,
unless,
depends what it is.
unless I'm reading it wrong.
The planning commission.
Where you at?
On 612, the very top, it, about the fourth line down, it says, final determination kind of rests with planning commission.
Applications for this category are first reviewed by the planning, would be the city staffing, okay? And applicable city personnel, then forward to the planning commission for review of a carried, if required, and final determination.
Right, it's,
Then the examples following,
Yes, examples follow.
Yeah, is that where it talks about approve, deny, approve with changes or something like that?
examples, open display permit, franchise permit, site plan review, construction plat review.
so those are our final determination, this panel?
Yes.
Okay.
Then it, once you guys approve it, it would come to the council for their approval.
For the final stamp on it saying, yes,
So should that be worded final determination? That's okay?
I would keep it like that, because it talks about the examples.
Examples are after.
And we know that it's gonna be going to, Mike and the council when it's done. You think we need to write anything in there at all about that? No? Okay.
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 I think there's an extra A right there.
Yeah, it needs to be where that, A is, the small a, and then the word after, that small a needs to be on the after, not a capital A.
Okay, that's what you're talking about.
It's just like an extra letter.
I must have left this one.
Yeah. But then they capitalize the word after, and it don't, doesn't.
One thirty-eight, right? It's under C, small c.
Delete the extra A, and then, like she said, it needs, after needs to be a small a. Cool. Failure of planning administrator or planning commission to act.
Are we up to building permits yet or no?
No, we're sitting on F right now under big B action. That's what we're looking at.
And we're just
We're just kind of.
now got to it, that's all. We haven't yet, within 60 days. So if we don't act,
Yeah, we've got to act within 30 days.
up here, I got you, yeah.
Okay. City staff, yeah.
Mhm.
Commission.
And appeal goes to, I think, another section, so.
All right, what do we have, Trent, did you have something?
No, the only place I got any concerns or questions is starting under building permits.
You know what page that is?
It's in 141 and start of 142.
Building permits.
I just was looking at F and I, and, I mean, I really didn't figure we needed a building permit to change your shingles.
These,
You're up here on permits and license,
Yeah.
Building permit 6.2.3, and you're under
Yeah.
F and
letter-
I.
Letter F and I, yeah. So F is roofing,
Okay.
So it's saying you would need a building permit to do your roofing.
And there are municipalities that do require
Yeah,
permits for roofing, to remove, replace.
yeah. So like, I mean, the hailstorm, I know none of us would have.
No.
Yes. I had to purchase permits for every roof I replaced in Cabot.
You did?
Yes.
Yeah, I had mine replaced, I didn't,
Oops,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I did mine this, oh, no, last summer. I wasn't on this,
Well, I mean, it's
Commission,
not, it's
yeah.
in this UDO. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's not saying we have it now. I'm saying this is saying we're gonna have it from this point forward.
And I think what, see, I actually fought the city of Cabot on an item under this building permits. Because if you look real close, construction, I'm looking at A, small letter A. Construction and reconstruction. My argument with them was, I'm not constructing, and I'm not changing the sight lines of the building for reconstruction.
And I would agree with you.
Basically.
But then they suggest that you're removing and replacing. You're correct, I am, but I'm not changing the sight line.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying.
But they said you still don't need to pull a permit. And that's including windows. If I go to change out windows on a house,
Yeah.
I purchase a permit. If I change siding on a house, put siding on a house,
So even doing screens or anything, any kind of.
Well, that's what
any
I-
kind of change to the home, you have to have a permit?
Well, and I'm gonna say with all due respect, I don't wanna turn into that, cause I don't think we are that, you know?
I'm just,
Yeah.
What's your thought?
and I would make sure that that is defined clearly in the
In this
UDO.
UDO.
Because I got in a big stink with Cabot over this very issue.
Yeah, cause the way I read this right now, if I have hail damage, somebody's pulling a permit to take my shingles off and put them back on.
And only thing it was is, the only thing that it truly is a revenue maker for the city of Cabot.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
right,
It's that-
yeah.
And I don't wanna have to do that.
It is.
And it's an overreach.
That last hail, I know 30 houses in my neighborhood
Oh, yeah.
got their
Every roof in our
roofs done. I mean, and I was one of them.
I'm just telling you, that's a revenue maker for city of Cabot.
Yeah, let's not do that. I just don't think we need to do that. I
That
think,
needs to be defined then. That needs to be defined, what is construction and reconstruction.
That's right. I'm gonna go in
I
there.
mean, it's kinda
Like
like,
reconstruction should be changed, the sight line of the building.
and where did I read that? Was that just in our, I've read that somewhere.
Basically, Mike, what you're saying is, you change anything on your home whatsoever, whether it be a screen, a window, you're
If you
gonna have
change
to
a
have a
window,
permit.
if you change if we remove, replace a window, I have to purchase a permit.
Yeah.
I'm a contractor. If a homeowner does it themselves, they do not have to purchase a permit. But me being a contractor, I have to pull a permit.
I don't wanna get into that.
So,
I don't think that's right.
I mean, you end up
You're not
controlling,
changing the,
but you control who can do business in your city. I mean, you keep the fly-by-night people that come through.
And that's what
Yeah.
that's what it did, because before I could pull a permit, I had to submit my Arkansas contractor's license and my insurance or CompGL.
Wow.
Then I could pull a permit.
I don't even know if my guy had any of that stuff.
well, I know my guy they had permits and everything, I mean, not permits, but they had insurance and all, but, yeah, I mean, just, I didn't know, I mean, I was.
Well, and then we're asking Randy to administer this during a hailstorm.
To administer, or you gotta understand that city staff could mean Randy, could mean
Yeah.
the building, the code enforcement
Correct,
officer.
yeah. But we're asking the city to administer this thing.
Yeah, that's,
A lot.
Yeah.
it's a big job.
You
I cannot
probably
tell you
just
how many
dedicated
code
to that
enforcement
job.
officers city of Cabot went through during, you know.
And you had to do that for every job you did.
So
That would suck.
I think we're all agreeing that we need to change it. But how
I'm
do
not saying you need to change it, but I'm saying what you need to do is
Define
define it, what reconstruction is, changing the sight line of the house,
I think
or
that's
changing the sight line of the
a
building.
huge thing.
Includes excavation, fill, paving, drainage, and similar activities. Yeah, this is just very restrictive. I mean, it's like you can't mow your grass almost.
But if the small A, B, and C, excavation, fill, paving, drainage, building permits required for that, then it says construction that increases the size of a building, that makes sense.
Right.
To have the permit for that. Then structural alteration, but what we're talking about is when we get it over into
Well, so
roofing,
yeah, so I didn't take exception to reconstruction, but I do now. I think reconstruction is, I think you can have construction
define.
and then
Yeah.
move on.
Mike, what'd you say was if you
Sight line,
sightline?
changing the sight line.
Well, that's C though, that's covered by,
I see.
that's covered by C.
But then you have to, but then you look at D. Improvement to the exterior or interior of the building,
That would be windows. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, this is too much, is I mean, I was taking exception to F and all this accessory stuff.
I mean, I could see like, for demolition, all those kind of things, I get it, but.
okay, but demolition,
You're changing the
Inside.
sightline.
You're changing it.
You're changing it all.
removal,
Yeah. But roofing, I don't see, unless you're adding on to adding another part, another part of roof that wasn't already there, I could see that for a permit, but if you're just going in there, taking roof off and putting a roof right back on, that's just, to me, that's idiotic. I mean, to be having to get that kind of stuff.
But again, it's what you're talking about is you then can control who works. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you don't want you don't want people taken advantage of. You want to be able to know, you want people to do business in a right manner. But I don't know how to truly administer this with the staff we have right now.
the likelihood of it happening is low.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say it will not happen, but the likelihood of it happening would be low.
Can we, I mean, what I would say is let's put a note of like what we currently have defined as a building permit and use that definition instead of this definition.
Which is gonna be accessory buildings, fences.
Yeah, I think we use our current definition of a building permit instead of this one. Because I mean.
Is that current definition already somewhere in the book? is what
No,
you're
no,
saying?
I'm saying like back with the old ordinance.
Oh, back with the old ordinance, okay.
Yeah, because I mean, do we want, I mean, all these solar panel people, I guess maybe they should be pulling a permit. I guess they
That's
probably are.
electrical.
Yeah.
Because that is electrical.
But we don't have an electrical inspector.
Yeah, how would we go out and actually enforce the code if we don't?
We don't have an electrical
Right.
inspector.
So really just use the current definition of a building permit that we have in place right now, right?
I think that
In
makes,
the old UDO.
yeah.
In the old. Okay.
I mean, because I'm new to it, but I don't think we've got any real issue with, nobody's saying what we currently do is flawed. Is that a true statement?
I don't know if it's flawed or not, but I mean, I know you go out, I don't want to get off subject, but if you go out to the farm preschool, they used to call it, now it's they put up a buku big old fence across the road from that, and I know it's part of the school, but I kind of doubt there's a permit sitting here for it. I do.
I know there's not a permit for it, because Randy's been talking about it, because that's where that gas line goes right through it.
Right.
Well, so I
That's
mean,
what that's what they're
I
known
mean,
for
and
now.
it's just it's a pretty fence, it's nice and everything, and I know they need it to keep the kids in, but my first thought was, now that I've been doing this for a while, my first thought was, where's the permit? Do we have one? Do
They
we
don't have one.
It's a lot of
Because
fence.
that's another part of it, remember Randy talked about that little building that's right there, that
Yeah.
has the AC unit hooked to it?
Mhm.
They put it on the wrong side. I guess that lot is separated.
but what we don't
So-
want to do is, let's say I have my air conditioning unit and I want to put some lattice around it. I don't want to have to pull a permit for that.
No, I agree.
You see it all the time out there.
You know,
I made a little cover for my lawnmowers.
Yeah,
and
I
put it on
don't,
my
I don't
fence.
want people to have to pull a
Right.
permit for that.
So,
I think that
do
maybe.
we agree though that we could go by what the old UDO shows us for a building permit?
Yeah, I think,
Everybody in agreement?
I'm okay with it.
Mike, you good with that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
It'll be a good fix. So I won't worry about, well, I'm gonna leave that part in there about the sideline, kind of references why we wanna go to this, use the old.
Alter the sightline.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So we're up to certificate of occupancy.
Business today.
Or what could be done. Because I was looking at B. None of the activities listed above shall take place within the corporate city limits until the building permit has been approved by the planning administrator. You could take items off of that list.
You're asking the question, strike item, take them
I
off?
would take items off of that list,
Okay.
unless you just strike the whole thing.
oh, I'm thinking that I'm talking when we do the building permit. I guess yeah, I'm saying, we're talking about A being the same as before. You're saying B.
I'm looking at down at little I.
Yeah.
Basically, we can take off, like, if we don't like the roofing on F, we can just strike it. Is
Yes.
what you're saying, Mike,
Mm-hmm.
because B's letting us do that,
Mm-hmm.
big B.
Ah,
See what I'm saying? It talks about none of the activities listed above shall take place within the corporate limits of the city until the building permit has been approved by the,
City
city
staff.
staffing
Yep.
as, meeting the requirements.
If you don't want
of the
roofing,
applicable.
cross out roofing.
Take
If you
roofing
don't
off
want
of it.
demolition/removal, cross that off.
Carports, things like that.
because it's covered in that wording
Decks.
down there.
Yep. That might be the better way to do it. and choose what we wanna keep in there, you know. Something like a garage or something like that, I, probably would need a.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that falls under construction.
Yeah. Anything if you, like Mike talked about, if it changes that sight line, alters it or changes it, yes, I would say definitely keep it, but, I mean, for just re-roofing and things like that, that's a prime example. I don't see why you'd have to do it unless you're adding to it. That's what's my thought, I mean, but I'm just one person. The hell is this?
It'd be something.
Because
like-
looking at that list, there are some things you'd want to have them pull a permit on. If I look at that list and look at it objectively, knowing what the city currently requires a permit to be pulled on.
But are they, but is what we currently require already defined in our permits? And that's why I'm saying if we just use what we're currently pulling permits on and continue to do the same.
You could do that, yes. And I would, yes.
Then maybe strike what we want out of this as well.
No, I'm saying this whole section,
This whole section,
use what we currently,
Currently, you're using on the old UDO. Okay.
and it would have the things that we're already pulling
Because
permits
we're
for.
not pulling permits for people re-roofing and things like that.
Correct.
So,
And we don't, I guess if we want to build a windmill, you know,
But if they don't want to do that, the next option would be like what Mike said, just to and then strike out what we need.
Yeah.
If they didn't want to change
yeah.
to the old one, so I think that'd be the best. We got two options here.
Yeah.
One way to go, if that won't work, then we'll do the other.
I don't know. One of my neighbors built this shack thing on the back of his house, and it was right around the time our code guy was very good. I mean, he was hitting everything. So I said, all right, he's going to catch that. And then, bless his heart, he got hurt. But I'm pretty sure he'd have seen that. I mean, I mentioned it, or I emailed it to him, but it was right around that time. It's like, wow, this was poorly
Must be
done.
kin to that same guy that dammed up the,
Must be. This was poorly done. It just looks
he built a
looks bad.
thing off the back of his deal and then put like a tin roof on it.
That's what this guy did.
Oh, that was awful.
And it was like,
And then the.
oh, we haven't seen our photo. Okay.
The trailer behind me
Oh, okay.
has a patio umbrella for a roof.
Oh, my God. Well, moving right along.
Now he's got like pieces of wood. Yeah, we had it for like months.
Oh, my gosh.
All right. As long as it stays dry, I guess.
I wonder.
So we are down, I think, to,
We were working on, building permits. Was there anything else, Tran, on the building permits? I know you was looking at.
now we're going to take what we currently have and insert it here.
sounds good.
Yeah. And then that wrote down here, so.
Certificate of occupancy. Yeah.
So
Um,
I'm just hashing out on this C where it says that a utility can't connect until a certificate of occupancy has been issued. I mean, that's kind of, you're telling somebody that you can't hook up electricity until you get a certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
And I'm saying that can't be. They have to have, you gotta be able to hook up electricity to build. I mean, I know
They run that,
the temp pool, right. But I know I had electricity to my box before you have to come into your box to be able to work all your lights and all that kind of stuff. So they have to be able to hook up off not the temp pole.
Are you talking before they even start building or anything? You
No, I'm
gotta
saying
have
so I'm saying a certificate of occupancy is when it's ready to be lived in.
provisions of this UDO of building.
And I'm saying it's unlawful for a public or private utility to connect permanent utility to a building that doesn't have a CO. And I'm saying I had gas hooked up, I had electricity
Stating that
hooked
the
up.
building complies with the provisions of this UDO and applicable building and fire codes. So this is building provisions.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure somebody's read this before us. So it can't, I'm reading it as you can't hook up your utilities, but you have to be able to.
Well,
And that's what the provisions
Yeah.
are for.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
what is unlawful? I mean, unlawful to what? To a code, to a,
Yeah, I would say code violation.
Right.
You know.
To the UDO.
right.
So you saying provisions would cover that, Mike,
Mhm.
before we have the occupancy?
So we're
Because you gotta have electricity.
Yeah, before the electrician can run up, make sure your lights
Or they
work.
can run everything work,
This makes no sense.
somebody smarter than me wrote this. Anything else on this one?
Conditional use permit.
We're at the top of 143, I don't know where everybody else is.
Looks like this whole page needs to be moved over. And I know that's not, this is not lined right.
It's definitely not. What's an example of a CUP for y'all? I just don't know.
I'm reading it right now. Let me. I'm gonna print this in here.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, where's it gonna be? It's gonna be over here, it's gonna be over there.
The conditional use permit. Yeah, conditional use permit they talked about.
It
So
is.
it's back here, it says, it's under conditional use permit, so it's, the CUP is just,
Appendix E. Is that what you're looking at?
well, where they're using the word CU, or the
Yeah,
acronym
yes,
CUP.
CUP, yeah.
Is for,
But his question was, what is a conditional use?
Right, if somebody came into the office, I need a CUP, or is it for, are they building something new? I just have never heard of a CUP, so I didn't know.
I'm
what-
thinking it's-
What an example of one is.
now I understand the question.
Just for my own benefit, not necessarily for the book, but
Use may represent potential potential problems with the neighboring property. Would it be like I-30 Speedway, where it just, where they are here, but their noise goes beyond?
Condition, okay.
You know, they create a condition that goes bigger than their area. Am I reading that right? Because it says the use may represent potential problems with respect to an impacted neighborhood or property. So it's like what you're doing on this one property is going to affect outside of yours.
Okay. That's what it is, okay. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm looking here at the
Like my drummer boy next door.
permit application. What's down there, noise?
Oh, there you go.
It's so loud that I can hear it in my head.
What's he doing out there?
Drummer, doesn't drum.
Oh, nice.
Mom and Dad
And
didn't
that's
want to hear
over.
it, so that's why they put him outside.
Yeah, put him outside.
That's over. TV, through my walls. We'll play all the way up to 10 o'clock.
Hours of operation.
Can't do anything.
Respect to its impact on neighboring property.
The way that I see that is if somebody's gonna do like a haunted house at the church, possibly, or some other building that would be considered conditional use.
Okay,
All right,
not permanent, they're just using it for this, okay.
thanks, that's all I wanted.
And that's what I gather from looking at the.
And if we're gonna need additional trash service, a traffic plan.
Thank you. So,
Something that goes against what they're currently used that for.
okay. Trying to think in my mind if we've got any pending or anything like that, probably not. Okay. We're over on 144.
Open display permit.
Do we have outdoor storage regulations, or we're putting it in with this? Like if you have a car in your front yard?
Can I hit that? You should. We're on 144. Yeah, subsection, yeah.
Where you at?
Just this open display outdoor storage regulation. I'm just asking if we currently have, you know, cars in the front yard, is there an ordinance?
Oh, yeah, we have,
Okay.
there's cars in the front yard because of the no parking on the street.
Yeah,
You-
I know.
The ordinance is like, you're like, but where do we park? In the grass. That's what people do. They just drive up,
You got 12 of them living there too, it's,
drive up on the grass.
yeah,
Because the ordinance says
can't park.
can't park in the street.
Which we don't have the room for.
I mean,
I don't know if they'll do it or not.
Now, my son parked in the street and immediately got a ticket. I said,
Well,
Yeah, I know that
tickets where
there's-
we're at, man, it's,
We do have an ordinance as far as an abandoned car, vehicle without any tags, that's been in
Right.
the driveway for 30 days or longer. Yeah, that could be,
we got on Water Street that parks over up against this, wooden fence, it's been sitting there for forever, I know it don't run.
oh, yeah.
If there's anything
I know where that is. Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
Not that guy, it'll bother me. Ordinance is ordinance, I guess.
Yeah. But I'll see 20 cars parked on the street for a party or something, and I'll be like, I wonder how many of them are getting tickets?
Well, there's a way around it, because, I mean, we have to go, come to the city, and they have to approve it for a one-night kind of thing, and then they won't.
just call the police chief,
Yeah,
What's that?
call the police chief and let him know.
yeah. But that's, if our neighbors does that, they have parties every once in a while, and they call and get approval to park on the street.
Say, Chief, I need a conditional use permit so I can.
Yeah, if I see something in the subdivision, I'll be text.
But they don't hardly write tickets where we're at.
Well, there's that, one of the police officers is in our neighborhood page, so,
There's actually 2 of them.
yeah.
My neighbors will, if we're gone or something, they're in the car, they say, go this parking on the driveway.
You got a big driveway too.
I'll add it onto it.
It's a good idea.
Where y'all at?
Well, we hit we went to subsection for open display, outdoor storage, just wondering, it's something we'd already covered. It just jumped us back to it.
Did I go back or not?
Back to 140.
Yeah, it pops that one. See, it pushed us there, and now pushed us back there. 626.
Yeah.
Mike, is where we're at.
Open display permit.
627, franchise.
Yeah.
What is it?
For, that must be for commercial.
Is anybody familiar with these permits? Franchise permits and sign permits? No, Matt would be, but
Well, and they're farther back.
it's all commercial, I'm sure, so.
Well, and the permits are farther back.
Yeah, back to signs. Yep. We've definitely been all through that, haven't we?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
We're gonna go back to that other.
How do you get back?
See if there's a foot back on this, but I don't think there is. Not there.
Can you open it up to where you can type in the pages? Oh,
This will put us closer.
sure, sure. It's not even gray in our, oh, maybe it's gonna be all the way down to. Weird, that's weird.
What page were we on?
144 was where we were.
Yeah. permit, sign permit. Takes you back to
Takes you
the
back to
appendix.
signs.
Yeah.
146. Site plan review.
Yeah.
Page 148, I believe.
6.
146, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing, which is right, I just noticed that it said it includes grading in there, like on the third line under A. But this like
Oh, yeah, it
site
does.
plan review says that.
Right there, includes grading. This is gonna be, but you're covering them all, right, city staff?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to hit up the ones about 146. I'm writing the numbers down.
Yeah, and I think you're talking kind of on the top of 147 with this pre-conference and all that stuff with the planning administrator. I think that looks all right.
Which one?
Well, it's where you're talking about the B, big B has the planning administrator,
Yeah.
and it's letting them talk about pre-application conference where they can talk and kind of go through what the builder wants to do or developer wants to do and kind of get conditional, this is going to fly, this is not going to fly kind of deal.
Which y'all did the one night with Mr. Miller, right?
Yeah. Well, and even before that though, Randy had discussion with, you know, there was discussions even before coming in here and
That's
seeing
right, he had
the
some drawings and everything.
yeah, and saying of what's the city gonna require for this, what's the city gonna require for that.
But I'll have to change all of them.
Including clearing or grading for obtaining construction plat approval. So that means this guy's already got construction plat approval, right? So that includes clearing or grading.
I don't know what he's got.
We're down on 641, construction plat.
Okay.
It talks about here, so we're kind of using Mr. Miller as a,
Reference.
he's starting to clear
Yeah.
trees. Does that mean that he has,
That can-
plat approval
Well, so we don't have a,
for grading?
we currently don't have a construction plat.
Because, not yet, till this
Yeah.
goes into
So,
effect.
so if this goes in effect, he doesn't clear the trees until he's got a construction plat.
Yeah, that's what's gonna change with this UDO.
Okay.
So right now, he's within his limits, he can do that. We can't do a thing about it because we're going off the old.
Correct.
Okay. They beat us to the punch.
Yeah, and then if 642 kind of, to continue that conversation, then lets us start to work with them and say, and do inspections and things like that, even before he's able to sell lots.
Yeah.
Because the final plat is when he can sell lots.
So it looks pretty good, all the way up to
642.
so far. Okay.
Is that in? Oh, this is 12 month, okay.
As long as he's progressing,
Right.
that's what it's saying, basically. If he's just not doing anything, then no. I'm not sure what the restaurant is. This one? Design review. Now, do you all know if the city, when they're building like this developers coming in, on the ones in the past, does the city come out and verify that they're doing, conforming to what we're, I guess that would be the code enforcement would go out and do that? I guess they have been doing that. And that would be Randy, right? Is he
No.
code enforcement?
No, they got another,
We have our own now? Okay. I know for a long time he did it.
Garrison did do it, Mike,
Who did?
Mike Garrison.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's the one that hurt himself, right? I guess he was out doing something, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's right. Absolutely.
Who's that?
I was talking about the, I was reading here that the person, code enforcement goes out and verifies that it's, that they're following procedure, kind of like
Yeah.
conforming to what they're supposed to be doing. And I wasn't thinking anything out. I know Randy used to do it a long time ago, but Mike said, well, you know, I guess he's on fire.
Yeah. Phew, got hurt pretty bad, I guess.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the inspection requirements are later on, right? Because there's things that, or we can, but I, like I say, I think it's, if I remember right, it's back in there, you have your plan, then you have what's code, and you have the inspections as you go along. But
Back
I think they're laid out later.
in the appendices, you're
I
saying?
think so.
Yeah, it should be 180 something, I believe, it's right.
Yeah.
Was it, I think 186, if I remember right.
Yep, we're getting there. Well, before we adjourn, I did want to ask, so we got one extra meeting in October. We've done that tonight. Do we want to go ahead and schedule that, talk about when we want to do November's? I want to get that done, yeah.
You're gonna slam into Thanksgiving.
I think we discussed that we were gonna do like 2 from here on out until we got done with it. Got done with the book.
Right.
Because they're wanting to get done with it by December, and
Yeah.
We're at, we've only got about
In council
you
is,
still got,
36 more pages.
Yes.
we're second, and your budget's
So
third.
that's the end of the book. Basically besides,
yeah, 186
We have a
is the
budget
last
meeting on the
page.
6th.
Yeah. So see, there's
so we
still,
got 36 pages, which we're doing pretty good. We knocked a bunch out tonight.
yeah, but we got holidays.
Yeah, we did, so.
Right.
Let me look.
That's why I wanted to get it discussed before we.
Yeah, so I am still in town the Monday of Thanksgiving. I don't know what that Monday is, if it's the 4th or the 5th.
It should be
Monday of Thanksgiving is the 20th. What, the 23rd or?
the 23rd.
So that Monday is the 20th. And our regular meeting is November the 13th.
Yep.
So we put it the 27th.
No, I'm sorry, yeah, the 13th. The 6th is when we get our stuff, and the 13th. So we just.
You wanna do the 20th or the 27th?
I'm okay with
I
that.
think it would be the 27th, but that would be the 4th Monday, which would be council again.
Yeah, council meeting's on that, the
Yeah.
27th.
It is.
I can make the 20th, I don't know. if Anybody else can?
I'm good with the
I can
20th.
make the 20th,
I could do 20th.
as long as you're free.
If we go out of town, we're not gonna go out till probably the 22nd.
Yeah, I'll meet here on my birthday.
Is it really?
You used to be like 21?
Yeah.
Are you sure that's okay? I can't tell if you're full or you're not, my
No,
goodness.
no, it is my birthday, but I'm fine with doing it.
Good. Okay,
It'll
so,
be 6 days before my birthday, so.
I don't know.
Next meeting,
and it's gonna be a week after our regular
Right. Yeah, Bill.
meeting, which is the 13th, okay.
And then we'll decide.
Six, four, three. I think is where, 6.43, 6.4.3. All right.
The final plat, which is on page 1.
Yeah. So November 20th at 6 o'clock. So we'll get that there. Good deal. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a
I
motion.
make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Got the
Okay, very
motion,
good.
you second?
Okay, either
Cool.
way, either
who,
way.
I move to,
Trent will make a motion to
Trent made a
adjourn.
who made the motion to open the meeting? I couldn't remember.
I think we just did roll call.
Yeah,
Well, we didn't have any minutes, or normally we would have.
Yeah, so that's why.
We're gonna do that the next meeting.
You're right, procedurally. I should have said, do I have a motion to open the meeting? Okay. So next time.
I think
We
I
have
should
a
use
motion.
Trent in both of
Yeah,
them.
we have a
Vote
motion.
again next time.
How
you
about I
can-
just use Trent for both of them?
All right, there we go.
Trent approves.
Trent approves.
Trent approves. Cool.